the Charlotte Motor Speedway, the epicenter of one of the greatest racing cities in the world. Pride, prestige, glory, it all comes with winning at one of the sport's true cathedrals of speed. Charlotte, North Carolina is home to NASCAR. This is where the top teams, drivers, and the Sports Hall of Fame all live. Charlotte is NASCAR. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Southern Slam 150. The NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour is in the home of NASCAR, Charlotte, North Carolina, on a big racing weekend. I'm Ralph Shaheen alongside Ray Evernham, and Derek Perniciglio will be joining us in a few moments. And Ray, this is a region that's rich in history with modifieds.
Oh, absolutely, Ralph. We think about the North when we talk about modifieds, but Red Byron, our first NASCAR champion in 1948 in the modifieds. Modifieds have been popular right here in the Charlotte area.
Just a half hour outside of downtown Charlotte, the Queen City. Here's a look at the point standings. Now, we're not racing for points here tonight, Ray, but it's still a tight point standings.
It is. We're seeing a great battle. It'll be settled up at Thompson in a few weeks here. But Doug Kobe, our point leader, is down here tonight.
Well, let's head down trackside. Here's Derek Perniciglio as we get ready to go racing in Charlotte.
Ralph, Ray, it's a fun night of racing here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. It's not a points race, so that means you can let it all hang out and just go for the win tonight. It'll be a fun night for guys because they won't have the pressure on them to have to worry about points racing or worry about where they're going to fall at the end of the night. They can just go out and race. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch this 150-lapper here tonight.
All right, Derek, looking forward to the green flag here. You know, Ray, just a few miles down the road from the Charlotte Motor Speedway is the Concord Speedway, another track rich with modified history. Let's take you back in the day, April 2nd, 2016, in a good combination of great cars out of the north and the south. The Myers brothers from the south on the front row.
Yeah, and there we see Ryan Preece and then Georgie Brunholz.
And the great Teddy Christopher in the 00 taking the lead early on here. Brunholz in that yellow and black car, he'd be strong on this day. He'd fight with Christopher coming up the inside. Brunholz would push his way past going down into turn 3, and that would be enough for him to take the win. George Brunholz celebrating a victory at Concord. So speaking of the two tracks, Charlotte and Concord, here's a look at some of the numbers between the two racetracks and some of the bigger names that have competed there.
Yeah, and when you look at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, a lot of the Bowman Gray names are in that list.
Let's go back to Derek.
Ralph, Doug Kobe brings the Mayhew Tools #2 down here to the Charlotte Motor Speedway. His very first time at the track, but it proved to be very good in qualifying. He'll start on the pole tonight, and this is a small, tight track. Can you compare it to any place you've ever run at?
Yeah, really only Daytona. I mean, we ran a couple of years ago down there, and it was the flat track on the back stretch at Daytona, and it's the flat track on the front stretch here at Charlotte. So, you know, these guys I'm racing against have some experience here. They've run here a bunch of times and also at Atlanta when they ran those couple Southern modified shows there. So I'm the new guy here. I'm the rookie, but Phil Moran gave me a great setup in our Mayhew Tools #2, and we're really excited to go tonight.
It's a non-points event. There won't be any championship implications. Is this just a fun night where you can just let it all hang out and go for it?
Well, every night's a fun night in a modified. You know, there's no bad nights in a modified. You know, I think so. You know, we came down here to support the Speedway. Want to thank Bruton Smith and Don Hawk and everybody at Charlotte Motor Speedway for having us here. And we're excited to meet some Mayhew Tools reps down here in the Charlotte area. You know, it's all about plugging our sponsor and making everybody happy. And you know, it's going to be a fun night. And you're right. You know, no points on the line. We have a week to worry about that. And hopefully we come out of here with another win.
Well, your current modified point leader is going to bring this Mayhew Tools #2 to the green flag here tonight.
Well, Doug Kobe dominates in championships. He's won 4, going for 5 this year, but he hasn't dominated in wins this year, Ray.
Nobody is still out in the front. You see, Timmy Solomito and Ryan Preece have led the win column, but heading back to Thompson, we know that Doug Kobe's very fast there.
It's going to be fun to watch this season go all the way to the title. Of course, we'll have it for you here on NBCSN. But we'll be back for racing in Charlotte right after this. Looking forward to a fun night of racing here on a very tight quarter mile. The Southern Slam 150 is probably the appropriate title for what we're about to see. So, Derek, who should we keep an eye on here tonight?
Well, guys, our Who to Watch driver will be that Dunleavy's Truck and Trailer sponsor, number 99, one of the old masters of the modifieds. That's the 1990 national champion, Jamie Tomeno. It's going to be only his 4th time he's raced so far this season. He's not doing a full-time schedule like he used to because he just moved down here to North Carolina from New Jersey. But he brought his short track car out. It's got a built motor in it, and he thinks for this type of racetrack, it'll be perfect for what he needs tonight. It's his first time racing here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and he's hoping for a really strong run.
Jamie's been running a long time. Plenty of experience on those small tracks.
You can add all the experience up in that entire field of cars, and it still won't equal all the laps Jamie Tomeno has in a modified.
Did you just say that, Ralph?
Yeah, well, it's true, though, Ray. It's something to be proud of, right? I mean, the guy has put a legendary career together.
He really has, and he has supported modified racing all of his life. Jamie's worked his way up from Wall Stadium in New Jersey, where he worked on other people's cars, and then certainly made it all the way to NASCAR Modified Champion.
You see the stats on this racetrack, built to resemble Bowman Gray Stadium. They built it, Ray, 25 years ago for the Winston Legends race.
Yeah, even though it's supposed to resemble Bowman Gray, it really doesn't. Does transitions from the front straightaway down into the inside part of the track, then back up on pit road, change a bunch. So it's like Bowman, but it's really not like Bowman. But we see Doug Covey got the pole, and Danny Bone, and I'm going to brag on Danny Bone tonight as we go along. He and his dad, the spirit of modified racing right there.
Here we go. Solid field of names in here. Not a huge field, but a talented one as we come to the green at Charlotte. Kobe on the inside in contact already, and around goes the 7. That's Priest driving Tommy Baldwin's car here tonight, and it's going to stack up half a dozen of them already.
And again, as you can see, Ralph, there's just not a lot of room down there. And that transition off the banking, I took a walk around the racetrack earlier just to take a look at it, and those transitions are sharper than you would think. And those cars are so low when they bounce up and down, especially on low tire pressure to start. Real easy to get turned around.
Trey Hutchins involved in that. C.J. Lehman in the 74. Take a look at it again.
Everybody squeezing to get down on the bottom lane there. Yeah. Bobby Meisner there just pushed up a little bit. Looked like he got into the side of Ryan Priest, but easy to do. You don't get the right angle getting in, those big wide open wheel tires sticking out there. The good news is they really weren't up to speed yet, so everybody should be able to continue.
Most of the time, this venue, the quarter mile here in the Tri-Oval at Charlotte, is where they run Thunder Roasters and Legends cars. Let's get an update on the 14 of Trey Hutchins from Derek and other actions in the pits.
Derek Kraus in the number 77 and the 14 of Bobby Meisner Jr. on pit road right now. The crews are going to work. There's some heavy damage to the right front corner of Derek Kraus's car. Had some sheet metal damage over there. Also had to change a right front tire when it went flat. Front of Bobby Meisner's car just crushed in the front bumper a little bit. The brake ductwork is pushed out to the side, but not to worry. They got him down and away. They want to get him back out there without losing any laps.
And they'll do that.
I'm going to tell you that brake duct work could be a problem. You'll see the rotors glowing on these modifieds on this racetrack. That this track is a little bit tough on brakes, Ralph.
Oh, yeah. You'll heat them up for sure. We'll heat up the action when we come back to Charlotte after this. Back here at Charlotte for the Southern Slam 150. Kobe leading out of 3 and 4, coming to the green flag again.
See the back of those cars kick out just a little bit under power.
The other thing about this racetrack is what you see right there, coming backwards down pit lane, which is the back straightaway. 2 different racing surfaces here, Ray. You get on the concrete of pit road, but you also have the asphalt.
Yeah, and that asphalt, as I said, I walked around there earlier, and the asphalt's actually kind of 2 different grip levels. The front straightaway on Speedway, where the Cup cars run, it's actually a little bit smoother, almost like there's sealer on. And then you look at pit road, and it's a little bit more beat up. I mean, obviously on pit road, you're not going to care as much about things as you would on the racetrack, but definitely grip level different pavement to pavement, and then you throw in the transition onto that concrete, and it's pretty tricky, Ralph. See Kobe leading Corey LaJoie right there, and they've got 140 laps to go yet.
Back downstairs, here's Derek once again.
Ralph Ray, one of the issues the drivers were talking about during the day was overshooting or undershooting the corners. The turns here are really tight at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and they laid black paint down in the grass on the ends of the corners, which kind of hides where the edge of the apron is. So the drivers, as they turn down into the corner, they see that black area as they go into the turn, and they think that they're on the pavement, where, in matter of fact, they're actually in the grass. So they had to set orange cones out there to show where the edge of the grass was compared to the edge of the pavement.
And not a lot of grip in the grass. No. You know, we saw that last week's show at Stafford, as those guys were dropping the left front down in there. Another thing, it's so flat that you're actually looking, when you're going down pit road, what I would call the wrong way, you really can't see that white line. So it's great that they put those cones there.
Let's take a moment to introduce you to one of NASCAR's next generation of upcoming stars.
Hi, I'm Danny Bowen, driver of the Dunleavy's Truck and Trailer, William Smith Trucking, Autos by Nelson, Bilstein Shocks, number 40 for Fleming Family Racing. My grandfather raced at Wall Stadium in the 50s, my dad in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and I grew up racing a family number, family car, and you know, to be hooked up with the Fleming family, it's awesome. They're a great bunch of people. They've been around modified racing in the South forever, and one of the things I like about racing on the Southern Tour is we get to go to different racetracks. You know, some people just race weekly at the same racetrack, but, you know, we're allowed to venture out and go race at other racetracks. And my goal is on the tour, you know, to get some wins for the Flemings. You know, a championship would be awesome. It's been something that's been on my bucket list to do. I'm Danny Bowen, and that's your NASCAR Next Gen profile.
Well, there's some unique video there from Bowman Gray Stadium, and that's the car that Danny runs there on a regular basis.
Yeah, and the car he's running tonight, and I'm really, again, proud of them. You know, this is the spirit of modified racing. He's running the family car. His grandfather's number was 659. His car is actually 65 with a number 9 on it, but it's a family car. He and his dad work on it. They put all the money into it, and he sat outside pole tonight with Doug Kobe. Danny's got a history of being able to save his tires and keep that pace and get to the front. As I said, really proud of these guys, and it lets these other guys know that even if Doug Kobe's got a budget and he's got tons of guys working on his car and he's the champion, you can still race a modified. The rules are such that you can do these in your garage with your family and be competitive. So it's what modified racing is all about, Ralph.
Well, you better figure out how to keep those brakes cool, as Priest has run right up on the backside of Kobe, Derek.
Watching that battle for lead right now, Ryan Priest chasing Doug Kobe, asked Tommy Baldwin, the owner of the car, how everything is going, and he said Ryan is just biding his time right now. He said the number 2 of Doug Kobe is using up more of his equipment than he'd like to, but I also asked him about the brakes, because we're seeing the front brake rotors glowing, and he said that always happens here. We'll be fine. We'll be able to have enough brakes for the entire race.
I don't know, Ralph. I'm going to tell you right now that, you know, Doug Kobe's are glowing, but he's out in the open and got air. With Priest tucked up behind Kobe like that, he's not getting air. Those brakes are not going to stay glowing like that.
The brakes on Priest's car are definitely hotter than those on our race leader Kobe in the 2.
You know, if nothing else, it'll boil the fluid. You get a soft pedal, or a long pedal as we call it, and he'll miss those corners. I'd be concerned if I were the owner, or certainly the driver of that car. I'd be on the radio telling Ryan, hey, look, those rotors, it's early, and those rotors are really glowing. But
yeah, just ask the first third of the race as they get around the 14 of Trey Hutchins out of Lexington, North Carolina. His dad has a long history in this sport.
You know, again, of course, we're seeing why Doug Kobe is a great champion that he is. You know, this track should favor the Bowman Gray guys that run there a lot. And Kobe comes out here, sets quick time, and he's led all the laps so far.
Well, you can do anything you want to build the racing track itself to replicate Bowman Gray, but if you don't have the grandstands and the crowd, it's not going to be anything like Bowman Gray is. The Madhouse is exactly that, the Madhouse, and that is what makes that place so special in so many ways.
And it's such a huge history there. The stars that have raced there. Oh, we've got somebody up and up through the grass there. Well, it might have been Jamie Tomato.
In the 99. Being hounded by Corey LaJoie.
A little bump from Corey there. Oh, we got a caution. Oh, and Tomato's turned around.
Jamie struggling a little bit in his first ever appearance here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway in a modified. We'll line the field back up and get back to racing here.
A little help from Corey LaJoie there.
Actually, a fair amount of help.
Yeah. Well, one thing for sure, Jamie's raced against Corey's father and his grandfather.
I was just going to say, Corey, the son of Randy LaJoie, the Busch Series champion from back in the day. Back here in Concord, North Carolina, the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Ralph Shaheen, Ray Evernham, and Derek Fernasiglio with you. The Southern Slam 150. Kobe good on the start again. Priest trying to make something happen on the outside, and you can make a pass on the outside here. It takes a lot of effort, but you can get it done.
Yeah, if you can hold the inside guy down so he can't accelerate off that corner, you can. And Priest, you know, the good news is that caution, you got a little bit loose there. That caution let his brakes cool down a good bit, so he can probably make a run at Kobe now a lot harder than he was as you actually moved him up there a little bit. Kobe hangs on to it.
Yeah, I thought for a minute the Southern Slam was going to be the Southern Bump and Run, and maybe it still will be.
Yeah, Ryan just driving Doug up a little bit in the corner, but Doug taking that exit away from him so he can't accelerate. That's experience right there. Hard to think about that stuff when somebody's banging your bumper and you're turning to the right, and then you got to turn back to the left.
Danny Bone having a pretty good run. He sits right there in third, Derek. He's in a good spot.
Keeping an eye on Danny Bone in that white number 65 car. If the Bone name sounds familiar to you in modified racing, that's because his grandfather was Parker Bone, who used to run the 659 race car for many years in the New Jersey area. His dad is Eddie Bone, who also ran that same number and won the Turkey Derby numerous times at the Wall Stadium. Danny Bone, the third generation, runs that number 65 machine, doing a really good job out there so far this year. Finished fourth in this race last season.
And Ralph, I know I was making fun of Jamie Tomato, but I just thought, wait a minute, I've raced Danny's grandfather, his father, and have one race against Danny, so I'm right there with Tomato.
Ryan Priest, having had a very interesting season behind the wheel of a modified.
Yeah, and has done a great job, certainly in the Xfinity Series. A lot of people talking about Ryan. He actually sent me a little Twitter picture. I commented so much on his Stafford nose bent. They put a new nose on that car, and he asked me if I liked that one better. So we know these guys are watching our telecasts. But Ralph, unfortunately, I see those brake rotors glowing really bad on that 7 car again. You know, if nothing else, that will affect the handling, and it also makes the tire pressure build up. That makes the car handle differently as well. He's starting to get some pressure now from Danny Bone. I believe Ryan Priest is starting to lose the brake pedal a little bit with that car.
Closing in on the halfway point here. There comes the 77 of Derek Kraus. Jamie Tomato still running along inside the top 10. Look at the gap now that Kobe has opened up over Priest, Bone, and the rest. That's Corey LaJoie in the 11. He's got about 2-3 car lengths on him.
Yeah. Bone looking down underneath of Ryan Priest there as they exit the corner. I think Dan's getting probably thinking it's time to go coming up on halfway.
Ray, we talked about the fact that Kobe hasn't won a lot of races this year, while some of the other people that are battling with him in the championship, like Justin Bonsignor, not here. Kobe is. This race won't pay any points towards the title, but it could be a momentum builder for him if he's able to hang on and get a win heading into Thompson.
Oh, absolutely. And I think just to come down here and get with these guys, every time you go to a different racetrack, and the more you race, the more you learn. The other thing I think it says about Doug Kobe and his group that I really like is they know that they're the modified champions. The people in this area don't get to see Doug Kobe race a lot, so I really respect them for making the drive, coming down here so that the people in Charlotte could see Doug Kobe race.
Kobe out of Milford, Connecticut, making the long tow down here, being a great ambassador for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. And someday, with the stats that he has and that he is racking up, he could very easily join Richie Evans in the NASCAR Hall of Fame, located right here in downtown Charlotte.
And it's great to see the modifieds being recognized as part of that Hall of Fame. When you go on Glory Road, one of Richie Evans' old coupes is sitting on Glory Road here in Charlotte.
And rightly so. It's not the Cup Series, Xfinity Series, and Truck Series Hall of Fame. It's the NASCAR Hall of Fame.
You see Danny, 4 career Whelen Southern Modified Tour wins.
Let's get an update on Corey LaJoie, Derek. He's hunting for a win.
Taking a look at Corey LaJoie and the Dunleavy's Truck and Trailer sponsored number 11 machine. This is a rare opportunity for him to come down and do this. Eddie Harvey didn't know who they were going to put in the car for the race this weekend, and Doug Dunleavy stepped in and said, I have an engine, let's put my engine in your car. He likes Corey LaJoie as a driver and thought Corey LaJoie is going to be in town. Let's put Corey in your car for tonight.
Corey doing a good job, and if the problems continue for Ryan Preece, he might move up a spot. Oh, that's Gerstner having some issues. Jeremy Gerstner.
Yeah, it looks like just lost the left front there and went straight through the grass. Hard to turn those modifieds on only one front tire. It's a long way to the pits there, so hopefully he doesn't do any more damage to that car before you can get that tire changed.
Yeah, you actually exit off the racetrack. It would be the entrance at turn 3. You stay to the outside there, which is where he is headed now.
The good news with the modified being open wheel, it's not like on one of our Cup cars or Xfinity cars. There's not a lot of sheet metal in there as that tire's flapping around. It's going to tear up crush panels and things like that. So hopefully if it doesn't get wrapped around any of his suspension, they can get that changed quickly.
You can see all the haulers in the garage area. This is a big racing weekend here in Charlotte. And the modified's just a part of it.
Looks like Tomeno about to get a lap back here. Okay, or they just replaced him in the pace car where he should have been. Ryan Preece pulled in there.
And there's Tommy Baldwin talking to him. Maybe those brakes finally gave up on the car. What's the story, Derek, from Ryan Preece's machine?
Ryan Preece finds himself parked behind pit wall right now. Trouble with that number 7 machine after such a good run build-up. What happened out there?
I don't know. It wasn't the same after that restart, and maybe the rotor started to come apart, but it finally, trying to stop when that caution came out, it just exploded and the pieces went behind my back in the seat. But that sucks. We had a good car. I got to thank Tommy for letting me drive it, but man, I've let so many get away from here. I know I won last year. I wanted to win again. I thought we were going to have a really good shot at it, but just no luck.
Are brakes a huge issue here?
Not really. It shouldn't be, but I don't know. That was something we couldn't control, you know.
Tough break for Ryan Preece. Had such a good run going, but he finds himself out early.
That's scary, that brake exploding like that.
It was, especially with pieces as hot as they were going up inside the car with him.
We'll be right back to Charlotte. Racing just for pride and glory and some cash here tonight with the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour in the Queen City of Charlotte, North Carolina. Here at the big Charlotte Motor Speedway, getting the Southern Slam 150 underway. Some bumps and bruises and bangs. Just what you would expect with the modifieds on the tight quarter mile here at Charlotte. Doug Kobe's been the star of the show so far, but now he's got Danny Bone on the outside in the 65. And Ray, let's give a shout out to Calvin Carroll in the 39.
Absolutely, Ralph. We're getting to see some people out tonight that we don't normally get to see. C.J. Lehman, Lauren Edgerton, you know, people that decided to bring those cars out and race them here tonight.
Love
Danny
that
Bone,
shot.
whoa.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Danny Bone into the lead, and that's the first time Kobe's been looking at the back bumper of anybody out here tonight outside of a lapper.
Wow, big pass right there for Danny Bone. And I'm sure Papa Eddie's pretty smiling away there. You know, as I said, Danny's known to be smooth. He doesn't tear up a lot of stuff, and he's really good at saving his tires. You know, when they run at Bowman Gray and the Bowman Gray type cars, the tires are much narrower. So the guys at Bowman have to learn to use a little bit less tire and make them last longer. The NASCAR modified tires are about 3 inches wider, and you can run a little bit harder.
He's doing a good job with the brakes, too. I know they've had a chance to cool down with that last caution. Maybe that's something that's impacting Kobe as well.
Well, the thing that Danny's got to worry about is Doug Kobe behind him. So he may be cooling his stuff, too. Still about 60 laps left here, and he'll be watching every move that Danny makes.
Well, we saw Jeremy Gerstner go out earlier. Derek, what's the story with his car?
Well, Jeremy Gerstner started 11th at the drop of the green. The car doesn't look like it has that much damage. What put you out?
The first lap, everybody checked up. I got slowed up, and I got hit from behind. You know, it was just a racing incident at a bull ring. But when it did, it bent the upper A-arm back in the strut. So we were trying to just hang in there and get, top 5 or 6 just by staying out of trouble. But actually, the A-arm finally broke, so we're out. But I just hated. I got to thank Doug Dunleavy and William Smith Trucking for helping me be here. And we had a great hot rod. The car was all the drive off perfect. Qualifying we messed up, but we had a great race car. We'd have been easy in the top 5. It's a shame. I hate it for all my guys that bust their butts to be here, but we'll get it right for next time. And the car's still one piece. The motor's great, and with the Robert Yates race engines, I think we definitely got a car to win with next year.
That's a tough break for Jeremy Gerstner. Went into this race with such high hopes, and now he finds himself out.
Well, with that Yates power plant, we sure know he's not lacking horsepower.
No, that car is probably handling on the straightaway, no sweat. But the modified, the front suspension is very delicate. These cars are very light. It's not like a cup car where it's a fairly stock-looking unit, but the tubing things that they use is a little bit lighter. And with it being bent back, when he said it was broke, it would be really difficult to change that without losing a lot of laps. But we see Kobe is not giving Danny Bone any breathing room.
No,
and Corey
he's not.
LaJoie is keeping them both honest.
You can see Corey's brakes glowing a little bit. You can see Kobe starting to heat up a touch as well.
As I said, the car behind is more at a disadvantage than the guy out front. The guy out front is still getting some air, whether you've got brake duct hoses on. And I can see there on the front of that 65 car, Danny Bone, he's got a couple of hoses running to his brake calipers or brake rotors, so that's helping him a little bit.
It doesn't sound like much, but just a single hose like that can significantly help with the cooling.
Oh, absolutely. It's just that there's a line that once that rotor starts to heat up, you're talking 12, 13, 1400, 1500 degrees, and it just boils the fluid. And just a little bit of cooling, you put a single hose up there just to blow some air on that, especially under the caution. And we heard Ryan Preece say that his actually got hotter after the caution, and it's because that heat just soaks through that caliper. I've actually seen things get so hot, Ralph, where it's melted that aluminum in the caliper.
Which is the scary part of what Ryan was saying when the thing exploded. The piece got between him, his back, and the seat. And you can imagine that hot metal sitting there with him strapped into that seat like that. That could be very scary and incredibly hot.
Oh, absolutely. And when you get those rotors that hot, when they start glowing almost white, the metal actually cracks, and then you add some RPM or going down the straightaway with that, and that stuff comes apart. So very, very lucky that Ryan came out of that okay.
That white and black 14 is Miesmer, who is closed in now to battle with Corey LaJoie for third.
Yeah, they're starting to close up a little bit there as Bone heads to some lap traffic. He's really going to have to be careful. As I said, he cannot relax with a guy like Doug Kobe on his bumper.
Lauren Edgerton in the 72 watches the leaders go by.
Bone's car and Kobe's car look really equally matched. And just watch the way they both put the left front on that white line and exit that corner.
You come out of 4, and it's a little bit uphill onto the straightaway here. You can see him transition up, and then it's a little slight downhill.
Yeah, like I said, Ralph, it's more than you would think. You know, you walk off that front straightaway to that V there, and these cars are low, 2.5 inches or so off the ground. So they bounce, they hit, you know, you can move over just a couple of feet, and that's all it's going to take for Doug Kobe to get under Danny Bone. If Danny comes down off that banking or back up on the banking and moves over just a little bit, it's going to create an opening for Doug.
Yeah, I've raced Thunder Roadsters on this track, and you can feel the sensation coming out of 3 up onto the banking and then dropping down into 1. It's not exactly Dover, that's for sure, but it is definitely there. And it's also incredibly narrow, even in something small like a Thunder Roadster. So you can imagine when you start putting a couple of modifieds side by side. We expect a wild finish here in Charlotte after the break. Coming down to the end here in Charlotte, just 25 laps to go with the Southern Slam 150. Ralph Shaheen, Ray Evernham, Derek Perniciglio watching Danny Bone in the 65 try to fend off the advances of the 2 of Doug Kobe, the current modified series points leader, and the 4-time champ is starting to turn up the heat, not just on his brakes, Ray, but the aggression as to how he's leaning on the back bumper of Danny Bone.
Yeah, and I think it's really, it's making me smile. He's letting, okay, kid, you know, here I'm 4-time champ back here. And I again, think it's great that Doug came down to race with these guys. As we look through the field at guys like Calvin Carroll and even Jamie Tomeno, Bobby Meismer, you know, people that don't get a chance to race with Doug Kobe, and then some of the fans get to see him. I think it's great. You know, a lot like the Xfinity guys get to race with the Cup guys sometimes. These guys will be better for having to have been able to race with Doug, and I just think it's great for him to come down here and run with these guys. And he's putting a little bit of pressure on Danny right now. Can't wait to see what Danny's got to say about this.
Kobe with just that 1 tour win this year, but he leads the points and will be looking to wrap up his 5th championship coming up at Thompson, a race you'll see here on NBCSN. Really looking forward to that.
Said just under 20 laps to go here, so Doug is going to start to keep that pressure on Danny as he heads into lap traffic.
Bone no slouch, as you can see, the 2014 Bowman Gray track champion. And if you can win there, it's a pretty stout piece on your resume to say that you can handle just about anything.
And again, really, that family that we talk about, his dad is his crew chief. They work on their own stuff. This is what modified racing is about.
Winning at Bowman Gray means that Danny is very used to somebody being right up behind him, dealing with a lot of traffic in front of him at the same time, and the pressure of what that can mount to be. He's quite comfortable in this situation.
Well, I'm going to tell you, those 2 are extremely fast because they are coming up to lap Jamie Tomeno, who happens to be running 4th.
Former series champion of the 99. 15 laps to go. Tomeno moving a little bit to the outside, trying to give a little bit of that inside lane there to our race leader. Smart move by Jamie.
Yeah, and Bone's going to have to go the inside. If he tries to go the outside, it's going to leave a big opening for Doug Kobe. Oh, Kobe goes down lower.
Here he comes. Couldn't get the wheel there. And the laps are winding down. Boy, this is going to get good. They called the Southern Slam 150. Will it be a slam, a bump, a nudge? You know something's coming.
You see those cars starting to hang out a little bit.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about the brakes, Ray, but it looks like those rear tires starting to give up their grip as well.
Yeah, and the guys are using the throttle a little bit harder now, too. They want to be, you can see they're sideways there. Heavy lap traffic. This could be a problem for Danny. He's going to the outside. Not a good move. Not a good move.
Oh, 2-3 wide. Here comes Kobe by Bone, and he's into the lead.
it is so tough to pick your way through lap traffic. Easy for us to say sitting up here watching from up top, but wow.
It is going to be really tough for Bone to get back up there and mount a charge with 10 to go. He's got to get around Tomeno first. He's cleared him. Now, can he catch Kobe and maybe use that bumper to nudge him out of the way?
Well, there's our third place car right up ahead of Kobe, so Danny's got to hope to catch Doug Kobe in traffic again like Kobe just did with him. Sometimes it's easier to be the guy in second when you get the traffic. You know, we've seen enough sprint car races where it's like that than it is the leader. And the leader, you make a decision. If you're running second, you go where the leader's not.
Yeah, that's Carroll in the 39. The red and black car is actually third in the race.
We actually see Doug Kobe pulling away from Danny Bone in the 65. So looks like Kobe might have saved the tire. His car looks a little bit faster at this point anyway, Ralph. Can't waste any time with Carroll, though.
I was just trying to decide if I thought it would be important for him to get around him. He's pushing on him a little bit. He's going to probably have to do something to get around Carroll. He's going to go to the outside here in 3 and 4, and that's probably the smart move. Get away from him, put a little more distance between you and Bone, who had closed right back up.
Yeah, and then, you know, that's the neat thing about the modifieds is they still use that front bumper to let people know that they're getting impatient. And, you know, to me, that's short track racing at its best.
I'm here. You need to move. I will move you if you don't.
Well, you know, Teddy Christopher's get your 3-bump roll, right?
That was pretty much it, right? Kobe, just a couple to go. Ray, there's no points for this victory, but with Thompson right around the corner, I think he's going to feel great about this win. It's going to be a lot of momentum, put him and that 2 team in a great spot as they head to what could be a very historic victory for them.
Absolutely, a confidence builder, you know, to win out here in Charlotte, to come all the way down here, make that trip, and then go home with a trophy. Absolutely a big confidence builder.
Tonight it's about winning here in the hometown of NASCAR with 1 more lap to go. But soon, Doug Kobe will be chasing his 5th NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour Championship. Just adding to what are already Hall of Fame caliber stats. But a big victory and a lot of momentum for Doug Kobe as he takes the checkered flag here in Charlotte. Danny Bone did a great job of hounding him and leading him here tonight. But the 2 will go to victory lane for only the 2nd time in 2017. Doug Kobe, the big winner here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Well, those brakes can finally cool. We'll be in victory lane with Doug when we return to Charlotte after this. Welcome back to the Southern Slam 150 here on NBCSN, the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour here in Charlotte for a non-points race, but an exciting Southern Slam 150, needless to say. And Doug Kobe is ready to celebrate with his crew. The Milford, Connecticut driver just waiting for the signal, and here he comes. Here's Derek.
Well, Doug Kobe comes down here as the point leader of the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour and had a really strong run tonight. We asked your car owner if you wish this was a points-paying night, and we'll ask you the same thing.
No. You know, I know we got the win, but this is a tough little place to race at, and very similar to Daytona. You get behind somebody, and the guy that was 3 car lengths behind you for 50 laps, all of a sudden you can't catch him, and you're trying everything you can. And I really thought we needed a restart or we needed lap traffic, and Jamie Tomeno, I owe you one for that. And you know, I really want to thank all my guys. This is a long trip to come down here for this race. Nice to get the win for Mayhew Tools. We got a lot of people here in the stands tonight. Of course, I want to mention the passing of two very important people in racing. Robert Yates, we got one of his engines in our car tonight, so we're thinking of his family and all his friends and all the people at the shops for Yates Racing Engines, and of course the family for Ted Christopher. You know, I wanted to win the points races so bad, and just say a word about Ted, but you know, you can't get a better short track racer than Ted Christopher, and he's definitely going to be missed throughout all the Northeast and all of the East Coast for that matter for short trackers. So happy to get a win. We go to Thompson as the point leader now. We relax tonight, have some fun, have a couple beers, and get down to business this week.
Well, in the essence of TC, in the lap traffic, if you couldn't have caught Danny Bone in the lap traffic, would you have given him the bumper?
I tried to give him the bumper a couple times. I actually think it hurt me worse than it hurt him. He's got a lot of experience down at Bowman Gray and knows how to keep cars behind him, running single file, pacing himself. But yeah, the lap cars, hey, they got him. So I got it beat at Riverhead with the lap cars, and it's nice to get one back here.
Put it in the books. Doug Kobe's going to take a win back to Connecticut this weekend.
And he's going to try for another one in his home state at Thompson coming up soon. Hey, how about Jimmy Tomato?
Yeah.
Fourth in his first ever race here at Charlotte.
Good job, and as I said, lots of names up there that we haven't normally seen.
Well, let's hear from Danny Bone now, who I'm sure Derek is probably a little frustrated.
Well, Danny Bone finished in the top 5 in last year's event, comes home with a second-place finish, and was the lap traffic the killer for the night?
Yeah, I mean, I think I did everything right tonight. Otherwise, I've tried to pass another lap car, and I don't know. It was they made it hard for us sometimes, you know, throughout the night, and then I guess he went too wide, and I was outside in the third groove, and I really didn't have much of a choice. Doug was running a good race as well, and was putting the pressure on me, and did everything he needed to do, and it was you know, just it stinks to lose a race that way. You know, I think we were the two best cars tonight, and I definitely think we could have won if that incident in 1 and 2 didn't happen. So, or 3 and 4. But you know, he's a good driver. He's smart. You know, that's why he's won the championship 4 times now. So, you know, to get beat by him, it definitely sucks. But you know, he's definitely a good driver, and it stinks to lose. But you know, we'll just work on our stuff and come back to the next race and hopefully put it in victory lane. Got to thank Dunleavy's Truck and Trailer Repair. He's the reason, you know, we came here tonight, and Rust-Oleum, PME Engines, Bilstein Shocks, and all my other sponsors, Racing Electronics, for all the support. And, you know, it stinks to lose.
I was going to say, we can hear the disappointment in your voice, but you still have to be happy with the second-place finish.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. That car is my, you know, the family car. We haven't raced it since 2015, and did some testing last week with it at Hickory, and you know, come out here, we definitely showed them we had a car that we could have won with, but, you know, just unfortunately we didn't do it. So, you know, it stinks to lose, like I said, but second place is always good. So, like I said, we'll work on it, and hopefully we'll get one next time.
Pretty good run for Danny Bone, who hasn't run this car in 2 years.
And, you know, I know he's disappointed, but at least he remembered to mention all his sponsors. I've taught him good, Ralph.
That you have, Ray, and we've got one race to go in the championship. Kobe leading Bonsignor by just a few. It's going to be great to watch from Thompson. Here's Derek.
Well, Calvin Carroll enjoyed one of his most successful races tonight in the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. Comes home with a podium finish, and it's got to make you really happy, doesn't it?
It does. Very happy. Just want to thank the whole team and everything they do for me.
Now, during the course of the race, it looked like survival was the biggest issue out there. Were you just trying to hang on?
Yeah, just trying to save my tires through the whole race and avoid that one big wreck. And if there was going to be any others, avoid them and just try and be there at the end.
What kind of confidence and motivation does this give you going into the last race and for future races for that matter?
Quite a bit of confidence for me and the whole team, so I think we'll be good there for the next race.
Pretty good run for the number 39, the teenager, Calvin Carroll, here tonight at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Certainly was a name we look forward to hearing more of.
Yeah, great to see these young guys coming out and getting an opportunity to race in front of a great crowd.
All-American Speedway, that's the next stop for the Can-Am Pro Series West. Going to be a great race for them on the quarter-mile high bank track out there just outside of my hometown of Sacramento. Looking forward to seeing that one as well. Fun night here at the Southern Slam 150.
Really great. Congratulations to Doug Kobe. Thanks for coming down, and looking forward to Thompson, Ralph.
Can't wait to close out the 2017 NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. Going to be some great racing. For Derek Bernasiglio and Ray Evernhand, I'm Ralph Shaheen. So long from Charlotte. Congratulations to the four-time champion, Doug Coby, on the big win here in the Queen City.